Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks so much for your patience with my videos, guys. I was making video short clips. I've learned how to do that, yes. So if you see those on the shorts on YouTube or other platforms, please give them a thumbs up and share them. They do help the channel to grow, and hopefully I can make more of those and also the full-length videos here and get this word out. We're trying to make people aware of narcissistic abuse and the damage it can do, and also provide a community of healing and encouragement and validation for the people that have gone through it. So thanks so much, everybody, for being here and being part of this community. Now, today we're going to talk about end times deception. Now, we know we're in the end days by the type of deception and the amount of deception that is going on today. Never have we seen the likes of such deception going on. And I wrote down just a few. I think there's probably so much more. And if you have any more end times deceptions that you've noticed in addition to what I'm going to mention, please let me know in the comments so we can be aware of what these deceptions are today. We need to be aware and vigilant and have spiritual discernment about them. Now, the biggest thing I've noticed is that evil is good and good is evil now. The big deception. We're deceived to think that heinous things that are sinful and not of God are good. It's like, what's the big deal, right? That's how it is. People are getting desensitized to evil. It's getting to be where people are protecting the criminal and not the victim. Somebody can break in your house and try to rob you, and if you defend yourself, you're taken to court and are the criminal. It's just backwards. So many things are backwards now. Evil is good and good is evil. That's really the biggest thing that stands out to me. But also it says that there'll be a great falling away in the end times, and that people will be, what does this say here? It says the Spirit clearly says that in later times some will abandon the faith and follow deceiving spirits and things taught by demons. Now we see that clearly, guys. People really have their own religions now, like whatever suits them. If they want to continue with a sinful lifestyle, well, they'll just join the church that really thinks that's okay. And they're not corrected. They just want to be accepted for their sin. But as Christian believers, we're not supposed to do that. We're not supposed to say, yeah, I support your demons. I support the demonic activity going on in your life. We're not supposed to do that, right? We're supposed to say, okay, I love you, I care for you. However, I care for your eternity. And just, you have to let them know. And it's a hard thing to do, but they're led astray by false doctrines. There's also the doctrine that, prosperity gospel, that everything's fa la la la. Nobody talks about sin. Nobody talks about the adversary at all, or the alternative to heaven for sin. They just talk about how God blesses them and is going to give them a bunch of money, and they're going to have a big home and everything like that. But you have to ask yourself, did Jesus and the apostles live that way? I don't think they lived in a $40 million mansion, do you? I didn't read about anything like that in the Word. So as difficult as it may be, or to understand or to recognize, but our Lord led a very humble life. So did the apostles. They weren't seeking fame and fortune. They weren't living in mansions. They weren't teaching the prosperity gospel. They were teaching that the Lord is your provider and your physician and your counselor and your father and your protector. Yes, absolutely. He does provide. But at the same time, if we're to walk the walk with Christ, it's not, it's not by the prosperity gospel, that's for sure. So there's a lot of deceptive teachings out there. There's also the teaching that you can manifest anything if you just think positive. Wow, wouldn't that be great? I mean, how many of you have thought positive things, but, things still happen to you? God's in charge. He corrects. He will put you through a boot camp of life before he uses you. That's his process. He wants to have you humbled and broken many times. So you seek God, so you need God. If you're living the prosperity gospel, you don't need God. You've got everything, right? I don't think the Lord would be here on earth teaching the prosperity gospel only. He would teach about, obviously, he mentions the adversary how many times in the Word? A lot. But there's these teachings that just delete that the adversary even exists or evil exists. It's like people become afraid and they don't want to lose parishioners, right? So they just don't mention the devil. They don't mention hell. They don't mention sin. They don't mention, the deceptions of the end times. They just talk about everything's going to be good and great and you're going to prosper and, God gives abundance and, it goes on and on. But that isn't exactly how our Lord walked this earth, and what he expected of his followers when he said, follow me. If we're to follow Christ, it's a narrow path and very few accept it, right? So if you have accepted it and you're willing to accept it and be one of the chosen here on the ground in this world, it's a tough walk. It is a tough walk. It's not for everybody. A lot of people can't do it and don't do it. They don't want to give up their earthly pleasures. They don't want to give up their sin. They don't want to give up things that other people do. But if you are, you will be greatly blessed. And, there's a great deception of materialism in the world today and all of the stuff that's going to make you happy. And it doesn't. That's a huge deception in these times. But right now, we're going to go over some things I wrote down that are noticeable deceptions in these end times. Now, we said here, I say this in other videos and probably mentioned it in this video when I opened up, but if I did, I'll say it again. Evil is good and good is evil, right? Never have we seen a time where evil is good and good is evil. Everything's been normalized. Sin is normalized. Twisted behaviors are normalized. Changing your body parts is normalized. Murders are happening every day on the news. That's becoming normal happenings. It's just ridiculous. It's just evil off the charts, guys. That's a sign of the end times. Now, another sign is the media deception. The false news, the false reports, the deceptive reports, brainwashing people into believing things that aren't true. There's so many deceptions in the media, in journalism, in articles, things that they report that are lies. And of course, it's to sway people's minds, to brainwash. That's what the adversary does. He goes after people's minds. And if he can control their minds, he controls their actions and gets them to vote for evil laws or do evil things or think certain heinous things are normal. So there's that deception in the media. Now, with the internet, especially now, we see a lot of fraud. We see a lot of scams, a lot of con men and deception. There's fraud emails, there's fraud text messages, right? There's bank scams and all these things they're sending over the internet. They're phishing people, they're sending them Facebook messages and everything, trying to deceive them. Tons of deceptive con people out there and people that are fraudulent. They aren't who they say they are. They're trying to deceive innocent people. And the internet has opened the door to that. Now, the internet has been great for sharing the gospel. And one of the end times signs is that the gospel will be shared around the world, that the gospel will be preached to all nations. Now, I feel that's through the internet. I don't think it's by missionaries landing in every country on foot, running around knocking on doors. I think it's through the internet. The gospel is reaching everybody now in every country. And that's a sign of the end times, right? So that's a good sign of the end times, that the gospel is reaching everybody in the four corners of the earth or the ends of the earth. But it's also, the internet has caused a lot of fraud and deception and evil as well that God's not happy with. But that fraud and the scams and everything, they're off the charts, no? So check it out and don't give any personal information if they send you something. Don't. If anybody calls you on the phone, don't give any information to people that call you on the phone. If you didn't call them, then, sorry, don't give them any information. So that's how frauds and scams and everything have escalated today with the internet. Think about this, all the fake body parts out there, all the cosmetic surgery, people looking totally different than the person they were born born as, you know? Now, I'm all for bettering yourself. I am not against somebody doing something that is going to help them feel better, or something they're self-conscious about, or if it's to be healthier, or if it's for their work in some way. But let's face it, I mean, young girls especially are getting ridiculous. They're getting huge breast implants that are just ridiculous looking, thinking that's attractive. They're getting butt implants, thinking that's attractive. They're removing ribs to make their waist smaller. They're having everything fixed on their face early, like in their 20s. It's really getting insane that people think that's the way to be happy. That, oh, if they just have this type of face or look like this celebrity, they'll be happy. It's a great deception. And they never had to deal with this 100 years ago. This is ridiculous. You wonder sometimes with some people what they looked like before all the surgery. You have no idea, because they've changed everything. They were so obsessed and had the body dysmorphia. They thought they were too heavy or too unattractive, or if they just have a smaller nose or their perfect teeth. And as I said, I'm all for self-improvement. This isn't saying that that's necessarily a bad thing, but when it gets ridiculous, when it becomes an illness with the person, when they're never satisfied, we'll get into this now, is the deceptive photographs, deceptive, these apps that change your whole look. It's a deception. Young girls think that women look perfect like that when they're not perfect. You see them in real life and they have flaws like everybody else. But with all of these apps that change the lighting and change your facial features and take your waist in and lift your butt up and everything, it is very deceptive. So it sends a false message, especially to young women, of perfection. And if they're not perfect, boy, they can cause depression and suicide even, because they can never measure up. So that is a great deception. Also, let's see, what else here did I write down? Deceptive dating sites. Now, if you haven't watched my video on, demons on dating sites, watch that video, because they said that, a huge majority of psychopaths and sociopaths are on dating sites. And I'm sure extreme malignant narcissists. We know that. They'll write down anything. As I said, I've known and I've heard reports of malignant narcissists just writing down everything that their spouse or significant other said that they were not. They took note of everything that they were not, and they put it on their profile that those were their strong points, complete opposite, and created, huge false profiles so they can, really get the attention of, capturing people online. So be very wary about dating sites. There's so many deceptive people on there. And again, when they're wearing a mask, a narcissist can wear a mask for months, years before it drops. And then you find out who the person is. It's a very, it's like playing roulette, really. I mean, you never know what you're going to get. So just know that the Lord will send somebody to you in a way you probably don't expect. If you want to be married, if you want to have a relationship with someone, the Lord will put people in your path, or put a situation in your path, or perhaps while you're doing something that you love doing, or you're doing something for the Lord, the person who has similar beliefs and things will come along for you. But there's a lot of deception on dating sites, so just be very, very wary. The picture may not be of them. There's all kinds of fake phishing profiles out there where they, completely give a false identity and version of who they are. So be careful, use your spiritual discernment, and just be aware. Also, something else I wrote down here is, on social media, people present perfection with their families. How many Facebook families you see out there, it's not the real thing going on behind closed doors, but they want everybody to think we're a perfect family, and they'll post like their car and their home and a lot of material things and a bunch of photos, but it's not necessarily the truth of what's going on. And people get discouraged. They think, well, gee, my marriage isn't that perfect, or my family isn't that perfect, or I don't have what they have, or look at their house, or they're always having these beautiful parties and their clothes are so nice and everything. And many times you don't know. It's deception. It's on the surface. You really don't know what's going on behind closed doors or behind those smiles, it does depress a lot of people who have normal, good relationships, but they're thinking, oh, mine should be like that, or I wish I had that person's spouse. And, it just really sometimes is, a big form of deception. It can be. Not always, it has its good points to share, your I guess, good news with people and friends and family and keep in touch. But also, it does, I guess, breed a lot of depression in people as well, because it gets very competitive, or look what they have, or people present, standing next to a car maybe that isn't theirs, or a home that isn't theirs. I've heard of these things happening. So, who knows? You don't know what's true, and you don't know what's false. And that's this sign of the times, the great deceptions again. So there's more, guys. There's more. I don't want to make this a long video, but, when I thought about all the deceptions, there's a lot. And again, if you guys know of ones I did not mention, please put it in the comments below, because people should be, very vigilant and be aware so they can keep their eyes open. Also, there's deception with the sexual practices and perversions. We're just thinking everything's okay. For a while, I don't know if it's still around, there was the man-boy club and, all kinds of sick things going on. Or how about, the men can use the ladies' room now because they're dressed like a woman. So if they dress like a woman, they can say, I'm a woman. No, you're pretending to be a woman wearing their clothes. I mean, simple as that. I can put on a man's clothes and pull my hair up and back and put a man's hat on and say, I'm a man, but I'm not. I'm a woman, I mean, it's a great deception. But that's getting to be normalized. Like, we're supposed to conform and say, oh yeah, dude, you are a woman. You can go in there. No, they're not. They're a dude. You cannot go in there with young girls in the stalls. Sorry. If I was a parent, I'd go in there and, believe me, I'd read them the riot act and kick them out. A man should not be in a restroom with a little girl. Sorry. They can see themselves as a woman, but, their body parts are saying, and their shoulder size and their height and strength, they're a man. So all of these deceptions are just getting way out of hand. It's just getting really strange. And again, good is seen as evil, evil seen as good. It's getting normalized. Now also here I mentioned the cosmetic surgery and things. I touched on the apps a little bit, but the deceptive photos. I mean, there's all kinds of lighting apps and apps that change your size of your nose and your shoulders and your waist and your thighs and everything. So people are getting deceived right and left, and they feel that, gee, they should look like that. Or, that's getting to be a normal photo, is a photo that doesn't look a thing like the person, right? That's getting huge now. It's great that we have technology to do that, but it's getting to be normal that somebody changes everything about themselves in their photos now. And again, that's deceptive. Now there's deceptive lies. Again, I mentioned the prosperity gospel, but about salvation, that you can just say, okay, Lord, I believe in you, and you're saved. I mean, I tend to think, and tell me what you think in the comments below, that it's more than that. You can't just say, okay, I believe in you, Lord. You have to walk the walk. You have to be a willing vessel for the Lord and let his will be done and put everything in his hands. But you have to turn your whole life over to the Lord. You can't just say, I believe in God. Okay, I said this at church and I'm saved, and go right back out and sin. I don't think that flies. Tell me what you think, but I don't think that flies. I think, it's good to acknowledge God and to say, Lord, forgive me, but there has to be a conscious effort. Prayer without works is dead, right? You have to put the effort behind it. You have to seek the Lord's face. You have to put the kingdom first. You have to walk the walk. You have to follow the life of Christ. And that, I believe, brings salvation. If you are sincere, and obedience is greater than sacrifice. You can say, oh, I donate to the church and I said this salvation prayer, but obedience is greater than sacrifice. Are you obedient to the commandments? Are you obedient to the Lord's request to follow him, to be humbled, to do the right thing? Those are all questions that, to ask yourself. But I don't believe it's just by making a statement in church or giving a donation. It's more than that, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below, but that's just my opinion and what I believe to be true. Also, in the last days, with the last day deception, now today we see deceptive clergy. We see hypocritical leaders of the church. They're leading dual lives, or they're leading a homosexual life, or they're doing something else. And I don't believe in bashing the shepherds. I received a word believe me, I'll post the word at some point. The shepherds will be shaken. That was a word years ago I received on Prophet's Prayer Channel. The shepherds will be shaken. And the Lord's instructions in the word said, forgive them. Forgive them. So do not judge was another part of the word. I have to get the exact word from the Lord. I don't want to misquote him. But he said the shepherds will be shaken, but do not judge them, and to forgive. So I'm paying attention to the words I received from the Lord, and that's what he requested of us. But there are a lot of shepherds that have gone astray, and they've hidden a certain lifestyle or hidden their sin. And, of course, that leads people away from the church and away from God when they see the hypocrisy. And no one's perfect. Everyone's going to sin at some point in their life. We can't judge, but at the same time, that's going to be a sign of the end times. They're going to, be these huge leaders that people look up to, and then you're going to find out they were involved with things that you'd never imagine them being involved with. Hidden sin, hidden lifestyles. Sign of the end times. Also, I wrote down the deception of abortion, that's okay. I receive words from the Lord that the children are mine, saith the Lord. No one has the right to take life away. I'm paraphrasing. You can look at my prophecies about that. I made a short clip about that for Prophet's Prayer, about the children being mine, saith the Lord. The Lord, in those words, and again I'm paraphrasing, said it plays with his purpose for that child. He had a purpose, and the child was made in his image. That's what he said in the word, in so many words. Now, I have to look at the exact words from the video, but pretty much I go by what the Lord told me with that and what it says in the Bible, that he created us, he knew us in the womb, right? So the great deception is that that's okay to kill your child. It's okay to kill a baby in the womb. They don't have a purpose. It's all about the parents' convenience. I also received a word that all sin with abortion, the sin lies with the parents. All babies aborted are in heaven, the Lord told me. I do believe that. The child is innocent. And they will be united with their parents one day if their parents repent. But the deception today is that it's okay. It's okay. It's convenient for the parent, so, you can end the life that God created in the womb. God had a purpose for that child and knew that child in the womb. It's in the Bible. That's what it says, that he knew us in the womb, and he created us in his likeness. And the word I received said, nobody has the power to say when someone lives or dies, but God. So I stand by that. But the deception now is that's all okay. Their body, their choice type of thing. And they're not looking at what the word says or the fact that the Lord created that child for a purpose. So that's a great deception as well. There's all kinds of identity deceptions as well, guys. People wanting to identify as a cat or a squirrel or, a different gender, or identify as a baby-making woman when they're a man. It's really getting ridiculous now. It is great deception. So that's just some of the deceptions, guys. That's just some of it. I'm sure there's more that you guys will mention in the comments. And this video is getting long, so I'm going to end it here. But you see what I'm talking about. Deception is one of the hallmark signs of the end times. How much more deceptive can this world get? Really, between the crimes, the fraud, everything going on, we have to use our spiritual discernment. We have to pray for spiritual discernment. We have to really get our advice from the Word of God. And as I said, in several words from the Lord, he said that the best armor against the adversary and deception is the Word. It's like an AK-47 against the devil and his schemes. So we need to read the Word, and in another video, another word that I put in a video, the Lord said, memorize it. Now, who can memorize the whole Bible? I mean, I'm like, Lord, are you kidding me? Seriously. But I think what the Lord was saying is try to remember as many verses as you can. Try to remember different, readings and different verses in the Bible, because I feel the Lord said to memorize it, because perhaps, I hate to say it, one day these Bibles will be taken away, or they won't be allowed. Why would the Lord say memorize them? To be of service to those in need of it. So he knows that there's going to be a remnant that is going to encourage other people in the end times. And perhaps there won't be any Bibles, so they'll have to memorize a lot of verses in the Bible to comfort people, to minister to other people in those times. Just saying, just saying. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I hope this was helpful. Keep your eyes open to the deceptions of the end times. Don't be those that fall away and follow false doctrines. Just go by what's in the Word, guys, and the Holy Spirit will guide you. Oh, one other big deception, guys. Hang on. I just noticed, I didn't write it down, are the narcissists of these of this time. I mean, what other, great sign can we see here? They have the false mask on, these severe malignant narcissists walking around the world, these narcopaths that are psychopathic and sociopathic as well. They don't have any remorse or guilt. They're like a tornado going through people's lives, destroying good people of God. So that's another sign, these deceptive, malignant narcissists in the world that are plotting, planning, and scheming against God's people, and who come on strong like a being of light with their love bombing, etc., only to find out that they were an illusion, that they weren't real, that they were being deceptive, that they were wearing a mask. And then when the mask drops, we found out that, wow, we were fooled, we were duped, we were deceived. So that's the last deception, guys. The severe, malignant narcissists in the world today in high numbers. So I hope this was helpful, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And please follow on Facebook, X, and Rumble. And make sure you share the short video clips and the shorts that I'm trying to create here. It does take time, and I'm not a techie, so thanks for bearing with me on that. And if anybody would like one-on-one Christian guidance, please email me at angelheavenministry@gmail.com, and I'll be sure to write you back on how to do that. For those who have it on their heart to give, thank you so much, and may God bless you and provide for you and bring you back tenfold. So thanks so much, everybody. I will see you next time, and God bless.